Detective John.
Hey, brother, how are you, man?
What's up, man? How are you? Thanks for calling in.
Good, good. I was out to dinner, just that. I just want to catch. I can't ever catch you live, man. I was like, damn, I'm just off though. I don't know if you have a schedule or.
I was on a schedule, but what happened was, everybody's clouding the airways right now. Like it's crazy, man. It's like everybody's like an octopus right now. They're just trying to eat everybody's, path in Idaho. I had a set schedule, but my work life kind of picked up and got a little crazy. So I'm trying to get back into a rhythm once things clear up there. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like if you look right now, there's like 10 Idaho streams going right now.
You know what's funny is I troll. I'll get on. When I get home, I'm done with work, and I just kind of get some massage chair and just kind of click on the comedy, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And I listen to some of this stuff. I'm not going to say any names. I was on one today, and they have like 4 people on panel, and it was like crickets.
Yeah.
You're like, and the one guy, the creator goes, well, I really don't know what to say. One guy goes, well, you put the video up that Jeff H did? And they're like, oh, taboo on Jeff H, who does an excellent job, by the way. Who's probably, out of all of the people that are out there,
right,
the most talented people available. And these guys actually, and he loves going on people's shows. Not biased, he just asks questions sometimes, but if you don't follow their narrative, they ban you. Dude, I mean, you just ask a simple question, and it's against their narrative, and no matter how tactful you are, it's crazy, man. It's almost like politics.
Yeah.
Today.
Can you guys? I just want to see in the chat. Just let me know if you can hear. If you can hear John, okay? Yeah, go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
Am I breaking up?
It's just a little low. I have my phone all the way up. I don't have it hooked up to like how T-Rev takes call. I got to talk to him how he does it. I'm just doing it through my iPhone. So, but anyway, we'll keep chat. Oh yeah, everybody can hear you. Awesome, cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's just why are we beating this dead horse? I mean, it's just it's so redundant and it's boring. There's so much crime out there, brother. There's so much crime, and I, it's like I was trying to tell T-Rev. I'm like, look, man, I don't want to say it's us against them, because I really don't like to say that.
Right.
But if you look at it, since I kind of blew up that one night because I was just tired of all of these accusations and this victim bashing that's been going on. It's just insane to me. It's like they almost want the guy to get off.
Yeah.
I mean, this case, I mean, I was a detective for a long time, bro. This case he's a done deal.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting back and waiting on my popcorn so we can watch the trial and watch all these people that have been saying this crap cringe, because they're cringing at this latest video, the 3-point turn. I was talking to Jeff on the phone, and we're talking about superimposing take 2015, and you've got the window line.
Yeah, I know. Right, I saw that.
And he did it, and he made it blink back and forth 2015. And you know what I said to him? I said, you know what they're going to hit on? They're going to hit on that stupid truck. And you're talking about a college town during a football night where everybody's out. Hell, the Banfield cops were out there with them. They're running up and down the street screaming and yelling. And they're going to hit on that stupid truck rather than the obvious thing that totally lines up with the PCA, the obvious video 3-point turn that David described in the PCA. And it's crazy. I'm really worried about people today.
What do you think where do you think that comes from? Like this whole thing about everybody that may, let's say, listen, I don't want to convict the guy right now because he is innocent until proven guilty. I think that you can agree with me, right? But what do you think 100%. This is? What do you think this is with just? I don't want to say it's this particular case, but I just see with a lot of cases now that, I mean, you clearly could have a video of a guy plunging a knife into the victim's chest, killing them, and they'd be like, "Oh no, it's not him. No, he didn't do it." Like, where does that come from?
Yeah. Here's the thing. You know, this case is not like any other because of, you know, the fact that, and I said this from the beginning, the only reason why this case is, so if he'd have walked in there, or whoever would have walked in there with a Glock 9 and blown all 4 of these people away, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. You know, because of the gravity and the MO, the method that he did this with a 9-inch K-bar knife, that's what got this. And he knew that when he did that it would happen. I'm going to say it. Frank Kohlberger knew what he was doing. He knew the media coverage it would get. I still don't believe he went in there to kill 4 people. But,
yeah, I don't either.
You know, I don't believe that was a plan. But, you know, I could be wrong. I'm not, you know, I'm the first to admit when I'm wrong. But you ask, what do you think it is? You know, are you referring to the way that other creators are handling this, or are you just mean?
I just think people in general, because I see the narrative out there like, this guy is so innocent, they have nothing against him. I'm like, bro, there's like so much evidence against him. And I think what it is that I think this has drawn in so many people that have never been interested in anything to do with like true crime or following cases, court cases, reading legal documents, stuff like that. So you get all this TikToking, this Facebooking. I sound like a really old Gen Xer right now. YouTube, and they go, "Oh, what is this?" And then, you know, they have no idea what's actually going on. So they think just what they're seeing in that PCA is just the evidence we're going to get in this case. I mean, the logical thing you have to ask, and I'm sorry to cut you off, the logical thing that you have to ask is, do you think the state would put the death penalty on the, you know, bring the death penalty against this guy if they didn't have him dead to rights, locked in that he did this? I mean, they're not going to just roll the dice on the table and go, well, maybe if we get it and maybe if we don't, because you know how that would smear that entire community and that state. I mean,
and it's like when I came on, you know, I kind of fell into T-Rev because I like watching Adventures with Purpose. You know, the divers that go out and they work through cold cases.
Yep.
Because I had many cases where vehicles were missing with the victim,
right,
or the missing person, and I knew that we're in a waterway somewhere because it just doesn't work that way. I mean, usually 99% of the time, you know, the vehicles don't, you know, they turn up in a waterway,
right,
you know, when they're gone for a long time. So I was intrigued with that show, and then there was some drama going on with the creator of that show and some allegation of sexual misconduct and all this stuff. But anyway, and he was on, had came up. I just went on to a show one night, and he's showing the, I don't know if you remember the Jack D was on the roof of that house, looking down the parking lot, and there was a white car there that was circled in red. And I'm like, man, that's not an Elantra.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean? Everybody's like, that's car 100. I'm like, I'm telling you, that's not the car.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not trying to be condescending to anyone, but pull up an Elantra and just follow the brow of the window line front and back, and you'll clearly see that that's not an Elantra. And man, it was like pulling teeth to get people to believe that was not the car.
It's crazy.
So that's how I kind of fell into it. And then somebody said, smart, after I back on the show, I said, look, I know this is, you know, I worked in law enforcement for a long time. I've got over 20 years experience in investigation. And, you know, I know what I was a child investigator. I know what to look for. There's software out there and blah, 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 you know, all this stuff. And finally get them to you know, admit that that's probably an Elantra or an Elantra, not an Elantra. I just knew 100,000% that it wasn't an Elantra. But that's how it all started, you know, and you know, I really liked being on the show. Everybody was pretty much receptive. But to answer your question, why do you think? And I'm going to say this, and people may disagree, but I'm sorry, that's the way this country is going. The media has vilify the police, and we can do no right. We're all corrupt, and it's horrible, man. Because it's really not that way. It's not that way.
You know what it is, man? And I'm sorry to cut you off. I think it's like I think like we lost faith in like pride, like being proud of yourself and being like a proud American. And it's like, like remember during like 9/11, everybody came together, bro. Like, let me get the door for you. Let me open the door. Like we had this like huge outpouring of like being Americans and being prideful and having respect in your country. And like you don't hear about that anymore, man. And it's just like, it's like, we just become the society of just attacking people and what can I get on you next? It's just crazy.
You're right. It's like Chosen Rosen said, why can't you just accept the faith? It's like
everything is not gray. Everything is not gray.
Like, yeah. I mean, it's this case, am I biased? I wouldn't say I'm biased. I'm just knowledgeable. I know how this stuff works, man. I know all about DNA. I know about transferred DNA. About DNA. Somebody on one of the shows, the lady got on and said that she understands DNA because the perpetrator in her case got off because they messed up getting the fingerprints off of her panties. And I'm like, you can't get fingerprints on panties. What are you talking about? I mean, it makes no sense to me. Touch DNA, but she's saying latent fingerprints. I mean, you would have to have some pretty serious oily substance and on your hands to leave a latent print on a fabric that could be you can throw it in a lot of people don't know this. You can take super glue, open it up, throw it in a paper bag with it, and the fumes will actually adhere to it.
You get a fingerprint. Yeah,
I actually had my son do that as a project in school, and it freaked him out because I had him actually pick some students, showed them how to read loops and whirls and bridges and stuff like that. Pick some students, put their names anonymously, pull the glass, and then we could figure out who it was. It was amazing. I mean, the teacher loved it. But anyway, you can't. It's very, very difficult to get latent prints off of cloth.
Yeah.
But anyway, somebody making some crap up. I knew I would this Kim, and I hate talking about it. But the woman was telling me during the interview, making up stories during the interview. I crossed her up so much. She actually said, I said, tell me about the other 5 suspects. And she said, well, yeah. Ethan was knocked out. I said, how do you know he was knocked out? Well, he was hit over the head with a pipe wrench by the plumber from ISU.
It was Super Mario, right?
I'm going, so a plumber is involved, and he's going to bring a pipe wrench to commit a quadruple homicide. And how do you do stuff, lady? It was so monotonous, man, that people were buying this stuff, and they're putting her on their shows. Yeah. One show actually has her as her voice as their header. And it's disgusting to me, man, because she is 100,000% a liar.
Yeah.
And she is fabricated. Now, do I believe that she's a WSU mom? Yeah, I believe that. I believe she's got some mental issues.
Right.
And I
clearly
think she's laid in bed and just paranoid and constructed this fabricated, theory, and she's spewing it, and people are buying it, and it's just blows me away, man. And they're doing it for all the wrong reasons, and that's what's disgusting. And I'm not going to attack anybody, but some of these creators are getting paid, bro. I know one creator made $18,000 in 1 month, bro, doing that garbage. And to me, you talked about putting your head down at night.
Yeah.
How do you do that, man? How do you take advantage of people's ignorance?
Right.
And I'm gonna get thrashed for using the word ignorant. But ignorant is not me saying someone is stupid. It's me saying that they don't understand the processes. They don't, when you're ignorant on something, when you need to educate yourself, you're not stupid. You're just ignorant about the topic. But other people's ignorance isn't really my responsibility. But I went on to the T-Rev show and I tried to shed some light on how this process works, and people were asking questions, and I loved it, man. I loved it. I loved helping people because I coach. I love to teach, and when people say things and it's just totally outlandish stuff, it blows me away when they say it. But I without being condescending, I try to explain the process. Well, here's why that can be possible.
Right.
And here's the way it works. And it worked out great. It was a lot of fun on this show, but we just need to move off of this. And I told him in chat, I told nothing T-Rev, right? And I told him personally, I said, dude, cover something else because this is just getting boring.
Yeah.
And I even said in chat, you guys won't see me much because I'm tired of this redundant garbage. And all it is people trying to make stuff up.
Yep.
And if I'm a parent or I'm a relative or I'm a friend to some of those people,
oh God,
I'm outraged at some of the things that have been said. It's I'm all about free speech, brother. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Me too.
But do I think that someone should step in like YouTube and shut these people down for doing this stuff? Absolutely.
But they won't.
Thing to have a theory. Yeah, and they won't. But it's one thing to have a theory, but it's irresponsible. Just unbelievably irresponsible.
And that's why, like, here on this channel, like everything that I've ever done or talked about, and I'm sure if you've caught some of my shows, like all we've done is use the legal documents that are there and speculate off of that. We don't go out on crazy conspiracy theories because you got to keep it, in my opinion, true to the evidence that we have in front of us.
Right.
And then bottom line, it comes down to, and I said this just before you called, I said, look, we were not there. We don't know. We don't know what happens. You don't.
But, right. But just like everyone else has the right, and he has the right to, be presumed innocent.
100%.
Okay. Until found guilty. But we also, I also, you also, other people also have the right to think he's guilty.
Sure. Absolutely.
But it doesn't change the fact that he is innocent.
Right. Hope I didn't lose it. Did I lose you?
But to people side, it's so bad, bro.
I think we lost him. I'll wait and see. I think you're busting out, John.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, brother. Yep.
I said it got so bad when I went on my my rant one night, and I said they're all a bunch of idiots for saying this stuff. That someone spread a rumor that I'm a child molester.
Ugh.
And I'm just so I've got my attorney on it, and they so in case they're all listening. Be on the lookout, because I'm telling you right now, you mess with the wrong cat.
Yep.
You mess with the wrong cat, because my picture's next to my name, and you accuse me of being a child molester.
Right.
What the hell, man? That's how sick these people are.
Oh, I know,
They're
man.
Absolutely sickening, man.
I had a Discord. I had a whole bunch of people, a bunch of very toxic people in there. And their game was to take down this channel, ultimately take down this channel. And they rallied all against me. And I'm sure I know who are some of the people that I know some of the creators that probably spun all those people up and had them do it on purpose. And I just got to a point where I was like, you know what? I don't have time for like all this melodrama. Like, the funny thing is, I can look at the average age of the people on my channel. Literally, the average age is between 38 and 65 years old. These are 38 to 65-year-old people that are acting like this. And I was like, I'm done. Like, you all are gone. And I just shut the chat down. I'm like, I don't have time for this shit anymore. And that's why I urge, like, I say to Tanya's in the chat right now. So Tanya, don't start a Discord. It's going to drive you crazy. It'll drive you crazy.
I had a good time on T-Red's show, and we did a lot of good things together. But T-Rev got upset one night and said, "What is the Detective John show now?" Now that were being made that were positive comments. One person says that, and I believe it was that Steve Irwin guy.
Sure.
Who just loves to start. He finds it. I have a show, blah blah blah. Dr. John is a guest on my show, and if he wants to start his own show, I'll support him. So I'm starting my own show, bro. And I think what should happen is if you look at their shows, it's not us against them, but they all have together. So if you notice, they're all on each other's
of
shows.
Course.
I mean, they'll bounce back and forth. Guess what we don't have?
Right.
I'm not going to say side against side, but we don't have that.
Right.
Our thought process don't have it. I'm going to start my own show. I've already created it. I'm buying all the equipment now.
Cool.
Trying to get versed on it, and it's going to be called I'll send you the info.
All right. Listen,
it's going to be.
Go ahead.
It's going to be an open forum, just like you do and everyone else, and we're not going to compete for time slots or anything like that. I respect all guys, but I think that if we do that and we bond together, we can kill it.
Well, that's initially why I got into this. I mean, I was trying to align myself with a few channels, and it was just like my view wasn't lining up with theirs. So it was like, you guys go do your thing. And I was even like saying when we first all got together, I was like, hey, we should do this at least like once a month, like just do a community, and we'll jump on like my channel one night, your channel, and support everybody.
Exactly.
And that's what I wanted to do. And it was like, nope, because everybody gets on this space and they're like, it's only got to be me. I only got to do it for me. And I'm like, if you work together, it gets you to that end goal a lot quicker. Like I've had Tanya to Titanium Built. She's been on my channel a few times. I've always told her, if you need me to go to your channel and support you, just tell me the time and day and I'll be there. She's been a great collab so far. I enjoy, hanging out with her because, we line up with our vision of this case where, what we see and our visions line up. I have a great panel of supporting mods that we have like kind of a little Discord chat, and we, share information. And I've had Laura, one of my mods, on the channel, and if you approach it that way, I think it's a little bit more productive. And, I even notice now too, all these other people, they just fight with each other, and it's not good. That's not what this is supposed to be about. It's not supposed to be about that.
No, absolutely not. And we should all be fighting for the truth. But at the same time, we should look at the evidence for what it is.
100%.
That PCA, people don't really realize what the PCA was for. All that PCA was for was to get him extradited back
100%.
to Idaho. So that PCA from the beginning, when the PCA was being created, we knew it was coming. I said, don't expect it to be earth-shattering, because really they don't need a lot of evidence to get somebody extradited. Well, that PCA came out and it had a ton of stuff in it. And I was very surprised because I've written many PCAs.
Yeah.
And the elements of the crime are all that have to be there. You don't have to go into detail. So all the rest of that stuff is for all your hearings and your trials and your suppression hearings and all that good stuff. But the cut of the elements are all that have to be there. And the judge just has to say, okay, well, we got TC to go ahead and extradite this guy. So listen, and I know I don't have to tell you this, but anybody that's on the fence that's all that they have, you got another thing coming.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm telling you right now, I believe that they're going to have facial recognition, because I believe if you look at she said something in one of her legal, rants, something about facial recognition. I believe she's laying a foundation because she wants to use case law to try and fight some facial recognition, because she knows that there's facial recognition. We don't know it, but she knows. I believe that there's probably facial recognition of him in that car.
Well, wait till you get to the cast information. Wait till that all starts coming out.
Oh yeah, it's going to be overwhelming. They're going to paint this picture just like they did with Murdaugh. Murdaugh. I'm sorry, I'm getting tired.
Yeah,
but okay. Just like they did with that was probably the single most impressive case I have ever seen.
Well, yeah, I actually just
absolutely unbelievably put together well. Those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, if no one has watched that trial and watched the evidentiary portion of that trial and the prosecution's case, man, how impressive. Digital footprints are just unbelievable. I mean, what people don't realize, they don't realize how since 9/11, how this country has it's like England. They've always been way ahead of us. But now, you can't go anywhere without seeing a DOT camera. I mean, a lot of those cameras aren't recording all the time. They're just live feed for the Department of Transportation to look and monitor an intersection to see if there's an issue and they need to cycle a light different or something like that. But a lot of like here, I'm in the Daytona Beach, Florida area. So we just in the past 5 years, I guess now, we had another serial killer. I worked with investigators on the Warnos case. Eileen Warnos, the monster. She was arrested at the last resort. He watched the movie, which is 5 minutes from my house.
Right.
But anyway, they during that investigation of this last, we just had a serial killer that was killing prostitutes that wound up being a Bethune-Cookman student that wound up in Miami, tracking down through DNA. But we had it set up where we have cameras everywhere, and there's software now. People don't know this, but there's software in patrol cars now that the patrol cars are smart cars.
Yeah,
they're scanning tags.
Yep.
If there's a cop sitting next to you in traffic, it's likely that he has a smart car, and that car is scanning all the tags that it can see, and if that person has a suspended license, that it'll come back and tell them.
Yeah, they have software.
It's amazing, dude.
Yeah, they have. I was just gonna say that, going back to the Murdaugh trial, I actually just played the FBI testimony that when he talked about the cast information, and I think his last name was Special Agent Wolf. So I actually just did that the other night because I was like, you guys should all get used to seeing this because this is probably what you're going to see in the Koberger trial, and it's astounding where how close they can locate someone now. And then going back to the recognition software, they actually use that in Philadelphia, that the trucks that do the booting, they have that and they can scan license plates, and it gives all the as they're kind of driving along to boot people, it just constantly scans license plates, picks up someone that has tickets, boom, they just throw the boot on it, and that's it. So yeah,
it's amazing. I mean, it's really hard to get away with the crime today, unless you're in a rural area. But I wouldn't be surprised, and no one's talking about this. But semi trucks over the road are working for huge corporations have. So if there's trucks going up down the road, and they would put out there, and they may have subpoenaed semi trucks that actually showed him driving past them on those rural roads.
Yeah.
So I've seen cases like that. So there may be that type of evidence out there. I mean, it's going to be pretty damning. I mean, I get it. People, this is a death penalty case. So here's going to be the hugest part of this case is going to be jury selection, because you got the defense going to want a certain type of juror, and you got the prosecution that's going to want a certain type of juror, but the juror cannot be against the death penalty.
Right.
So what you do is you sit down, you vet these people, and you kind of get a feeling of how they're going to lean and how much evidence are they going to have to see to impose the death penalty. So the prosecution's going to interview a person, and the defense is going to interview a person, and they're going to say, well, I think, and the defense is going to think, it's going to be real hard convince this person to give the death penalty, even though they're not opposed to it. So that's, of course, that's going to be somebody the defense is going to want. The prosecution is going to fight. It's going to be epic. I'm telling you right now, because of the fact that it's a death penalty case. So, you know, I'm excited for you know why I'm excited for the trial? Because of all these people.
Yeah, I knew you were just going to say that.
You know, of all these people, you know, you got one creator that even dressed her kids up as Watts. And, you know, she when Chris Watts was going through all of his, you know, the trial and stuff, she swore he was innocent.
Yeah.
It's disgusting, man.
It's weird, man.
So I'm gonna love it when all this stuff comes out, and then I want to watch their shows and see what they say.
Yeah.
Because you'd swear, I think you said it earlier, it's almost like you need to have video today.
Yeah.
Of a man wielding a 9-inch cable or knife, plunging it into 4 people, twisting it, you know, doing all the dirty, you know, before you convict. And that's the only thing today that I don't like about DNA, because, you know, when I started, you know, DNA was just coming about. It wasn't, you know,
right.
It wasn't as easy now.
About 88, it started 87, 88, it really started.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And, you know, I started in 88.
Yep.
So, you know, I came up through a lot of different changes. And but the bad thing about DNA is
you just broke up again.
The bad thing about DNA is everyone expects it now.
Right.
So if you don't have DNA and you're the suspect in a homicide, you're going to get off.
Right.
What happened to good old just, you know, investigative techniques and interviews and witnesses and things like that? They're all kicked to the side because it's like the OJ glove. If the glove doesn't fit, you must quit. Right. So if we don't have DNA now, we got to quit somebody. That's what's scary. That is what's scary. And I've worked many cases, bro, where, you know, the suspect got in his vehicle after committing, you know, triple homicide and didn't leave any DNA from the victims. And they're fixating on that fact. And that to me is not a problem. It shouldn't be a problem. I mean, it's not, you know, yeah, he did this heinous crime, which I believe he did. I guarantee you he had DNA on it, but I also guarantee you that he's not stupid. Okay, so it would be very easy to derobe if he was wearing like a tie back or something. Just pop his shoes off, you know, and throw them in a bag, or you know, there's speculation about a shower curtain. I don't want to jump down that rabbit hole, but hey, what better item could you lay across the seat of your car and discard all of your clothes and ball it up and get rid of it, you know, without leaving too much DNA in the car? And, you know, video, they're not talking about the obvious. They surveilled him, basically scrubbing his car. Right. So if he's doing that, and then they actually watched him bring trash out at his apartment, watched him bring trash out, what do you think that they did at that point? I came up with a term, and it's kind of all over now, and that's a term that I use in law enforcement. It's called garbology. I've done surveillance and dove in dumpsters after the person dropped the bag in. Of course. And it's called garbology. And I called it garbology 101. And we would go and we'd pick trash and we'd pull DNA. We'd pull on dope cases. I would pull, you know, I would get search warrants based on that because of the, you know, residue. You know, there's foil. There's all kinds of things. Paraphernalia is discarded. But once that trash is pulled down to the road, or even, you know, the right of the easement, it's abandoned property. Right. So you don't need a search warrant because it's to retrieve it. Yep. It's to the road. So it's very easy to do. And I mean, he was being surveilled. Yeah. Relatively quickly. I think a lot faster than people realize. He was being surveilled. Yeah. And I think, and this is just me, but I think that a tip came in, and that's why all the genealogy, they don't need the genealogy. The genealogy is not what made the case. All they needed was a tip. They already had DNA. So if let's say the rumor is out there that the security guard at WSU saw the car. There's a sticker on that car. All you have to do is pull that sticker up because he's a student, or and he's registered to the school, so he knows everything about it. So he calls him Pippin, and it belongs to Brian Kohlberger. So they've got the DNA. So all they've got to do now is get his DNA. So there's many ways to do that. I just told you one way, garbology. Right. But in the meantime, if they had the registration from PA, this is so simple, everyone. All you would do is run the registration, figure out, hey, he's got a residence at his parents' house in PA, contact the Pennsylvania State Police. They do surveillance on that house. They pull garbage from that house. Dad's DNA. They're like, it's one in how many quintillion that he's the dad of Brian Kohlberger. That's it. That's all you needed to do.
100%.
But also, they didn't need to do anything else because they already had his DNA. So once they got his DNA by other means, post-arrest, they did a buccal swab.
Yeah.
And they compared it, or they got it from the garbage that they pulled before he even left to go to Pennsylvania, where they were surveilling him.
So saying
at that point, you don't have to use any of that DNA.
Right.
It's a moot point.
Pat saying right here in the chat, he goes, it's reported that he was being watched all over Pennsylvania. Maybe people don't believe that, which is crazy. It's in the PCA.
You're right.
It's in the PCA. Well, but that's the problem, is that people don't read any of these legal documents. So they go on a channel, they hear something, and they go, oh yeah, that's what it's going to be. I'm like, and I did a poll like last week. I was like, do you read the legal documents in this case? 66% of the people in the room that night said they've never read any of the documents.
Right. But if somebody says something on one of these shows, it has to be true, right?
Right. Well, of course.
It's like, where does common sense come into play here, Brian? It's so, and because I'm automatically hated because I wore a badge. I mean, I come to terms with that. I knew it was bad, but I didn't realize how bad it was until somebody actually, to try to get rid of me and accused me of being a pedophile.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
So that's there is toward anyone against their narrative or the police in general.
Right.
But I even said on T-Red's show, I worked with so many cops that I couldn't stand, bro. I couldn't stand them. I wasn't that typical Ray-Ban freaking aviator sunglasses cop.
Right.
I wore Oakley blades, bro. I'm a surf rat from Daytona. I had bleach blonde hair, and during spring break down here, I would have girls walk up to my patrol car when I was on patrol and throw their panties in my car. I mean, because I was just that young surf rat from Daytona that wore a badge.
Yeah.
But I didn't fit into a lot of the good old boys, so, but I couldn't stand half those people, so I'm not your typical cop, man. I'm just like, that's the job for free. I came up around drugs and I saw what it did to my family, and I wanted to make a difference. So I went in with that in mind, and things changed so much. It's really sad. To be a cop now, they're giving bonuses of like $30,000.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Some places
let's
to sign up.
Let's do this. Would you ever come back and maybe give an hour and a half again? I'd love to continue this conversation. Maybe,
absolutely.
Yeah,
man.
maybe
absolutely.
We can set up a time here, over the next couple of days or a week or whatever. And then I can get you just give you a link and you'll be in the show. So it's I don't have to hold the phone. And I give you a StreamYard link. You can come in. You don't have to show your face or anything like that if you don't want to. But at least we can.
Dude, I don't care about that. My face should be on right now. I mean, you got a picture right there.
Yeah.
My show is going to be Crime Analysis 101 by Detective John.
Cool.
So
let's hook up again. I'll reach out to me and let's do something. I'd love to have you come back and talk a little bit more, maybe on one of these Idaho shows, and we can kind of set the record straight about everything. It's just getting crazy.
And in the meantime, we can find something else.
Yeah, right.
There's so much out there.
That's what I'm doing tonight.
Yeah, I've got some great ideas, and I think that if we collaborate together, like they are, I mean, together we can achieve a lot more.
100%.
And we can perhaps sway some of these people that are on the fence and let them actually look at the evidence and use their common sense. I mean, you can't tell the jury, use your common sense. That's not allowed.
Right.
With that, you can imply it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We got to find it beyond a reasonable doubt. Right.
That's right. But the sad thing is you only have to have one juror, that doesn't buy it.
Right.
So, if a case deserves the death penalty, it's this case. But the process, all the processes, it's like this whole ridiculous thing about, one of these shows is like, oh yeah, she got her wit, she filed a motion and, the defense, the judge spanked the prosecution and he's making them turn over the records for these 3 officers. Are you kidding me? That's like elementary 101. The prosecution's just saying, okay, I wasn't planning on calling them.
Right.
But so I don't know why you need them. But they twisted that, though, guys, everybody. They twisted that to make it seem like that the prosecution wasn't going to provide, the training information for these officers.
What I keep trying to tell people is that this is chess. It's chess, not checkers.
And it's just like she filed her response.
Right.
You can't tell me in reading that response that she didn't 100,000% try to let everybody out here on a Friday night, when we finally got to see it, believe that the prosecution was withholding evidence. She 100,000% did that. She knew what she was doing. And I promise everyone that the judge admonished her, not in public, not where we could see it, maybe via an email, but he admonished her for doing that. Because I've been around a long time and there's no judge that would read that response and not be pissed.
Right.
It was very, very, very unprofessionally written. She may be a badass and great and all this stuff. That was a very unprofessional.
I thought it was funny.
Total dig.
Yeah, I thought it was funny in when they had the response for the motion, the discovery, and she goes, "It doesn't matter what came first. It doesn't matter what came first. The car, what was it? The Elantra or the sheath?" And I was like, it just sounded to me, it was like the chicken or the egg.
Right. It's just, and you go to these, and I told you I troll, but I troll because I'm literally in tears. I'm laughing so hard at some of this crap that I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And to watch this one lady on her show, she just, oh my gosh, it's like, oh, she got the sarcastic, laugh. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Listen to some of her theories, and she thinks she's smart. She's picking the legal system apart.
Right.
And she has no clue what she's talking about, brother. Zero.
Yeah.
Zero clue. And I get on there and I what qualifies you to make these, to opine on this stuff?
Right.
What kind of qualifications do you have? It's what you're saying is totally off base.
Right.
But we could banter back and forth on this all day long, but I'm with you, man. And if I said on T-Rev's show, you're not going to see me much anymore because I'm over this Idaho 4 crap.
Sure.
There's nothing new out there. Now we have a couple videos have dropped, and Jeff went out there and put together a great video.
Yeah. So
and they're even picking him apart, man.
Here's something.
It's insane.
If you could do this for me, I would appreciate it. I actually emailed Jeff this morning because I like what he did in his videos, and in my next live, I emailed him and said, hey, I saw your videos. I just wanted to get permission. Like, would you give me permission to to just play them on my live? Because I really enjoy. So if you talk to him.
Absolutely, man. I talk to him about every day, brother. And I tell you, he's the nicest guy. And for these people to treat him the way that they treat him, they treat him because he was on the show. It was unbelievable.
The problem is that it squashes their narrative. That's why.
Exactly.
It squashes their narrative.
They don't want to see anything that's truth related.
Right.
They don't want to see it.
If you could ask him if it's cool that I show those, I really would like to show him, because he did some really great work, and I was looking at him this morning, and I was like, oh,
he's fantastic, and I plugged him. No one else. T-Rev was plugging him, and I'm like, hey, Jeff could put that up there in 0.2 seconds. I could picture him sitting at his desk and hearing me say that. He pops up, and he's like, "Come on!" I'm literally within a minute, he had what I suggested he do up there, and it was excellent.
Yeah,
and he's being and these other shows, he did the same stuff for them, and then they crapped on him, man, because he was on a show that they didn't like, and then for them to purport that. Don't let me tell you something, man. I've gone on to the shows, and I've been very nice. And as soon as I posted one thing, I'm blocked. And I realize I'm blocked. I'm typing this stuff. And all of a sudden, I'm like, Jeff, are you? Jeff, like,
I think they're cutting out again.
No, I'm not on there. So there is no open dialogue. Or you have one theory, I have one, and we shake hands and we're good.
Right.
It's either their way,
it's one way, or their way,
or not.
It's their way or their way.
That's what, and that's why I like your show. When you had your other name, what was it? I forget the name now.
Idiot.
I think you sent me an email or something, and I got and I responded back, but I think you switched everything up. I don't know if you ever saw it or not, but. I love the way you handle the audience, and you're open-minded, but you're also a realist, man. You have the right to feel like he's guilty, just like they have the right to feel that he's innocent, and the facts don't change.
But I lean, and that's the thing is I always say, like, I lean because the evidence, in my opinion, is strong to be, to show guilt. But I said. Right. But I always say he's always due his day in court. He's still innocent until proven guilty.
He's still innocent, but
let's do this.
I believe he's guilty.
Let's do this. Let's get another show together. I'd love to have you come on, just like the panel, and we can go back and forth with this again. I'd love to do it if you're up for it.
Absolutely, man.
Cool,
I look forward to it.
Okay.
I'd love it, and perhaps we can talk about something else.
Yeah, absolutely. let's do something else.
And it's like I've wanted, I asked, T-Rev to hey, let's cover Danny Rawlings, because, that case was prevalent when I was a rookie.
Right.
And that is very similar to this case. It really is. And for those people that don't believe that someone could kill someone with a knife. Right. Well, he killed 5 people.
Yeah.
So, and he was solo. And he went in through spider doors. This is the University of Florida in Santa Fe, right here in my state. So, I mean, you pull up stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff I like to see. Hey, let's kind of look at this. Let's look at Danny Rawlings and look at the similarities. People are comparing him to Bundy. I don't think there's any similarities to Bundy, personally.
Yeah.
Bundy's the most well-known. But Danny Rawlings was even more of a monster, I believe. And so if anybody wants to watch something, and I've never even watched the documentary, I just know all this stuff because I was involved in it.
Right.
So go pull up Danny Rawlings. They called, he was the butcher, the Gainesville Butcher, or the Gainesville Ripper, I'm sorry, is what he was referred to as, because he was brutal. And not to get graphic, he decapitated one of the girls and put her head in a bookshelf.
It's so crazy.
When law enforcement walked in, they would be looking into her eyes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Sitting there with no head. That's kind of crazy stuff this guy did.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of stuff that I think people will be intrigued with.
Yeah,
not just bantering back and forth about the same crap.
Yeah.
Different way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's get a show together. I'm going to wrap this one up in a little bit. I want to get a little bit more into this interrogation before I close up tonight. But listen, man, I appreciate you calling in. I know that you and I have been trying to like, I don't take this the wrong way, like hook up and talk. But I'm glad you called in, this impromptu call. And I just kind of want to hear your your perspective on anything that's going on right now. And I pretty much figured this was the direction you're going to talk about, but I'll reach out to you via email. Maybe we can set up a time in the next, week or so, and we'll do another jam like this.
Absolutely, man. I look forward to it.
All right, brother.
All the listeners out there, I don't want everybody to think I'm totally biased. We can hit these questions, and we can agree to disagree. And I'm not going to disrespect anybody.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, he called people idiots. No, I called people idiots because they were pushing a false narrative,
right,
claiming that Dana was a drug dealer.
Yeah, it's it's crazy, man.
It set me over the edge, man. I mean, as a parent of 5 myself,
yeah,
I would come unglued if that was one of my kids. I would probably hunt that person down. I was so pissed.
Yeah, but let's do this.
Go
ahead. I was going to say, we'll get something going, and we'll do this again. I'd appreciate it.
All right. Hey, have a good night, everyone. God bless.
All right. Thanks for calling in. See you. All right. That was Detective John. That was kind of cool, man. I'm glad he called in. You guys be nice. John's a nice guy. That was cool. Him and I actually been trying to hook up and chat for a little while, and it's cool that he was in the chat tonight. It's why I wanted to give him the floor and just say, hey, call in, and I wanted to hear your perspective on Idaho. So listen, it doesn't say Idaho in the title, but a lot of people just missed a really bunch of great content there, and John's great. So we're gonna have him back on the show. We'll do a show with him and do that. Hey, everybody, if you've made it this far in the video, I just wanted to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content today, please give it a thumbs up. Oh, also on the way out, hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on. So every time I drop a new video, you guys will be informed. And somewhere up here while I'm talking, you're probably going to see another video pop up. Make sure to click on that video as well. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.